Hello and welcome back to Utterly Unfiltered with Tash and
Cara.
Thank you so much for being here and happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Today we are talking about New Year's resolutions. How a little bit of self-respect can elevate your life in every way.
Oh, I like that.
I like that. That sounds meaty.
Today is December 30th, so
Wow.
we are 2 days away from 2025. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. Pretty optimistic. I feel like it's been a busy time. It's been a busy year, actually.
Recap. Let's do a recap, shall we?
Okay.
How was... 2 questions. Okay.
Ooh. Hit me with them.
If you could describe 2024 in 3 words.
Chaotic. Whirlwind. Fun.
Ooh, I like that. Chaotic and whirlwind.
It's basically the same thing, isn't it? They're basically synonyms.
That's how chaotic it was.
That's how chaotic
She
it was.
needs to say it twice.
Well, I feel like 2023, I quit my job to do music. But actually, I found a lot of structure within that. And I did a lot of mindfulness practices. I did it because I was working from home. It was very kind of wholesome, actually. It was very like self-discovery, find myself. I haven't yet. Waiting for that to happen. 2024 was kind of more of, for me, getting back to trying to find a work-life balance. So I think in that sense, it was a little bit like I'm pulled apart in a few different directions at the moment. I've had a lot of like it's been wedding season this year. I went to the Taylor Swift Eras tour. I've been on a cruise, which was a little bit wild. So it was fun. It was a fun year because there was so much happening. Yeah. But it was like, I just got swept up in it. I don't actually know what's happened this year. It's been a bit of a blur. Yeah. But those are my 3. What are your 3 words to describe 2024?
How would I describe 2024? Good question. I'm going to say roller coaster.
Ooh, similar to whirlwind. Yeah, I like it.
Kind of, but roller coasters are more up and down. Yeah. Whereas whirlwind's like woo.
Yeah.
Roller coaster. I would say friendship. Oh. I think this year is definitely... I've spent a lot of time with friends this year.
Nice. We love that.
And
thinking hard about this one.
I am. I'm trying to think of. It's hard to think of the word to describe. Do you know what I mean?
It.
Like to capture.
I won't hold you to it if that helps.
It. I would say like, not goals. Goals is the wrong word, but like taking a leap of faith.
Taking a leap of faith is actually
too many
5 words.
That's why I'm trying to find one word to
taking
describe
a leap
it.
Of faith. Like Oh, that's true. What is the word to capture? Okay, we'll allow it. We'll allow a sentence. Taking a leap of faith, yeah, which was leaving the corporate ladder, right?
I was actually thinking about starting the podcast, but yes, leaving the corporate ladder, and also I did my half marathon this year, and I finished my masters this year.
Oh my gosh, lots of leaps of faith.
So yeah, lots of. I mean,
you've been leaping all over the place.
Yeah, I guess it's like lots of things either got finished or started. Do you know what I mean? That's why I was like trying to think. It was like goals is the wrong word.
Like evolutionary or metamorphosis or
ooh, fancy word. Yeah. Metamorphosis. Right? I don't even know what that means, but it sounds cool.
It's GCSE biology. So that's when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly.
Right.
This process of metamorphosis of it. So it's change and it's growth and it's new life and it's taking different forms.
Interesting. Fancy.
So do you think it?
Maybe just like a new leaf.
Okay, well you could be a butterfly or you could be a leaf. You've chosen a leaf. You live with that.
I don't know. But yeah, I say roller coaster for sure. It's had a lot of up and downs for sure. But also like so much has changed this year. Like I literally started at the beginning of the year, for one, like, with multiple different things, right? Struggling with my masters, literally wanted to quit. Could not run. It was not something I really did. Could maybe run 5k. Was still working at my first corporate job and was still at that point fighting for the promotion that I did eventually get, but I left then immediately afterwards because it just, I got a different job, but it also just took freaking forever. It was BS. And yeah, just like very different. And then by the end of the year, I've completed my master's. My graduation's in a few weeks' time. I have run a half marathon.
Amazing.
I not
you
only
did so
quit
well.
that
You
first-
smashed that.
Yeah, it was
you
good.
smashed that.
I not only quit my first job and got a second one, but then I ended up quitting that job and just becoming self-employed, and then starting the podcast, finally doing something that I've wanted to do forever, starting a TikTok account, finally just stop thinking about it and just doing it.
And embracing it. Yeah.
And just kind of riding that roller coaster for a while as well.
Nice.
So I feel like it's been like my life now compared to January is like
Very different.
so different. Like not necessarily like, you know, some people are like, oh, you wouldn't recognize me from January to now ever. It's like my life is so exponentially better. I wouldn't even say it was exponentially better.
No, it's just looks very different.
Yeah, like I'm just I'm living a different world than I was at the beginning of the year. Not for better or worse, just kind of it's different.
But I think that's a good way to look at it though, because I think when you say like, oh, I want my life to be better, you're kind of telling yourself the message that right now it's not good.
Yeah.
Which is not always true.
No.
I think we go through different stages of life, and they all appear very different, but there's always highlights and there's always lowlights to each. I don't think we should strive for like greatness in terms of what life looks like. I think you should just strive for what makes you happy and a bit of stability and balance. I think balance is key.
Definitely.
But no, I love that. That is so true though, actually, to think of where we were both at in January this year.
Yeah.
Massively different.
Huge difference.
Huge difference.
Like different world. Honestly, a different world. For one, I think I was blonde.
I was broke. I hadn't been working for a year. I was literally broke.
That's so crazy, isn't
I
it?
still am, because I've just spent £25 on deodorant. Oh God.
Just kicking herself
I'm so
now.
upset about it now. It was an alcohol influence purchase, which are never good. Remember, I told you I need to hide my phone when I drink.
Yes.
That's mostly because I send soppy messages, but now apparently it's because I buy things that I don't need. Anyways, so maybe
funny.
that's one of my like New Year's resolutions, is to just hide my phone when I drink.
And actually, that was going to be my second question. What has been the highlight of 2024, or what are a couple of highlights of 2024?
I'm thinking. I think I have definitely become more self-assured. So I'm going to say that. Like, that's a big one for me. Like, I have finally found my confidence to be a little bit rogue. And I suppose, liberated. And a lot of that is, like, filtered through my music. So my music account, right? So I'm kind of going through this a little bit more daring. For other people, probably is just, like, normal. But for me, I've been very kind of conservative and very conscious of how I've appeared online. So never really swearing, never really wearing like outfits that could be perceived as being sultry.
Yeah.
The music that I'm writing is more bold and kind of confessive of where I'm at. So I think I felt like really way more confident to embrace that at the ripe old age of 27. I've finally found some internal confidence. So that's been a highlight for me. I don't know how it came about though, honestly. I'm very confused as to where that. I can't really pinpoint it. I can't pinpoint it. Other than the fact that, like, because very much working in healthcare, there's a massive push towards being really professional in your personal life as well, to not be too sort of present on social media, because you're trying to protect your, you know, especially because I work in like a secure unit, so to try and protect your privacy, and that's been a big thing for me. But I think I've just kind of been like, well, fuck it.
It is what it is.
The fuck it mindset is actually serving me very well.
That's good.
At the moment.
Love that.
And then it's just been a celebratory year. There's been a lot of like celebration events. My dad's like had his big birthday, and we went away to Cornwall for a week. Obviously the cruise, all the weddings that have gone on, Taylor Swift tour. Like it's just been like a lot of fun.
Yeah, love that.
So all of those in one. That's a cheat answer.
I love that.
But that's that.
Yeah.
What are your highlights of 2024?
Good question. Let me have a think. What have been some of my highlights of 2024? You know what? This year, I'm like actually trying to reflect on the year I'm trying to think of like some of the things I did. I've done so much this year.
I know, that's why it's really hard to pick two.
It really is.
That's why I've picked
it?
like a feeling as opposed to an event, because it's a load of events for me that have been amazing.
So crazy. In February, we saw the Northern Lights, and that was definitely a highlight of my year. Like, that's something that's been on my bucket list since forever. And so getting to see that was just so
amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
That entire trip looked incredible. Like, coming in from the snow into the sauna and then out into the snow.
Yeah.
Like,
it was amazing. That we went to Finland and it was just so cool. I went to Mallorca with one of my friends, and that was like honestly one of the best holidays I've ever had. Very cool. We just had so much fun. The area was just so nice. Like, every day was just blissful, you know when it's like
special,
the weather hits, the food hits, the drink hits, the sights hit, like everything is just perfect. It sees the perfect temperature. It's just, everything is perfect. It was one of those holidays.
That's nice.
I was so happy. So that was definitely a highlight, but that's quite recent, which is why I can remember it. What else has been a highlight of my year?
Podcast,
starting the podcast is definitely one of the biggest highlights of my year.
I've just been inserting myself in there.
No, but it is. I can't believe we're doing this. Like, this is crazy. That is quite cool. Like, this is something I wanted to do for years and years and years, and the fact that I'm like actually doing it is like, it's almost like a breathe of sigh of relief of like, thank God, finally. Because when you have those things. Everyone has those things that they want to achieve or they want to do, but they're too scared to do them, or they don't know how to start them.
It's finding the confidence, right?
And it wasn't even like with the podcast that was necessarily the case, just that it wasn't the time. Like, every year I've thought about it. Every month I've thought about it for the last few years that I wanted to do it.
I didn't know that you said this yesterday, and I didn't know, sorry to interject, but I didn't know that it had been a long-term goal of yours. I literally thought it was as sporadic as my agreeing to it, which was us drinking and being like, let's start a podcast.
No.
I love that you, and I didn't know that, and I feel that I should have known that, but that's cool.
It's just always been something that I've wanted to do. Because I love listening to podcasts, and I have for a long time, but also I love to talk.
And you're good at it.
It's fun.
You're good at it.
And I feel like it's such a good outlet as well, and it allows me to... think deeply about things that on a daily basis is very easy to just get caught up in your day-to-day life and not prioritize time to think about some of these more complex issues or topics. And obviously I did my master's in psychology, so I had time that I was doing that, and I read a lot of non-fiction books, so I have time when I'm doing that. But like, there's not really, that's a lot of learning and not a lot of doing. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Outside of obviously what I do in my own life, but when it comes to any kind of personal development, you don't do everything at once. You're focusing on different things at different times. And so there's so many topics and so many things I've also already done.
Yes.
But you don't want to forget about it just because you've gone through it, It's like, it's fun to have a way to kind of continually reflect, and also to keep yourself on the straight and narrow, I guess, with not getting lazy and not working on yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Which, personal reflection here, has been something, so that's probably been a low light of 2024 for me, because remember how I said just now that 2023 was my sort of self-development, my growth, my literally structuring my day around mindfulness. Like, my whole mornings were a series of mindfulness based exercises, and I got into such a good mental place, like such a good place, and let it slip. And this year has been more financial, like trying to dig myself out of the financial hole that I was in. So I've neglected that massively. So this has been really, really great for me to pull me back into not just the actual, I get the most benefit from talking to you, because again, it's like my personal therapy sessions for everyone to listen in on, but just even prepping for them. Not so much this time because I was in the dark hole of music related issues, but previous ones, like actually taking some time and actually preparing for the podcast and thinking about it myself was a little bit intimidating at first, because sometimes I like to bury my feelings. But this was like, okay, come on, let's like actually think about how we feel now again. And it's been
absolutely
nice.
And I think that's what most people feel like. It's like, it's not comfortable usually to have to address things. It's why, like, people put off things like going to therapy or
unhealthy coping mechanisms, distraction.
Those things are hard. And it's actually why you oftentimes need accountability for those things. The idea of like, right, well, I'm not going to go to therapy, but every week I'm going to spend an hour doing X, Y, Z. It's like, you just won't, because it's too hard. It's too difficult when there's no accountability. But when there is, you actually get a lot out of it,
Absolutely.
So I love thinking about it, and
I love that you brought me on board. Why?
Why? Like, why? I was thinking about obviously, like I said, I wanted to do a podcast for ages, and I have always been someone who needs a sounding board. Like, I'm not someone who I can't really work through things on my own, to be honest. Like, there are certain things I might like convince myself of or whatever. Like, I can give myself affirmations to work on a negative belief or whatever. But like, in general, if I need to make a decision or something, I have to talk it out loud.
Okay.
I don't need other people to give me the answers. I just need like to have something reflect back to me, I guess.
Okay.
That's always been the case when it comes to like just any kind of the bigger discussions. I guess. I've always needed a sounding board. But so when it came to a podcast, the idea of me doing a podcast by myself, I was like, I have no one to expand my own horizons, you know? I'll just be talking about things that I know about, but no one's asking me any questions. No one's giving me their insight into how they feel about something, and therefore challenging my own insight, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah.
So like, I know I can't do it by myself.
So it's more of an active process when there's two of you. Like your thoughts are evolving.
Well, you know, even though we make notes, honestly, I rarely even end up looking at them.
Yeah, likewise.
Because what we end up talking about ends up evolving throughout the conversation. Yeah. And you'll say things and it'll make me think, oh my God, I've never seen it that way. And likewise, like, that makes so much more sense. And then I will think about something in a slightly different, you know, from a slightly different angle.
Sure. And
that's super beneficial because, I mean, surely that's way more helpful than just hearing someone preach about what they think is correct as of their own life experience. Like, you know, everyone is different. So that's one reason I knew I needed someone else to do it with me. But the reason I picked you was because I was like, I need someone who complements my personality and isn't the same as me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking about like, what, you know, a couple of my friends, and also like I need someone who wanted to do something a little creative and exciting, and also had the time, and therefore wasn't working like crazy full-time jobs or anything like that. Although we do live in different cities, but we seem to make it work somehow.
We seem to make it work, yeah.
And I was like, Cara's funny. And therefore,
Cara's just chaotic.
But you are funny, and so you're complimentary. As I'm funny, but not in a ha-ha kind of way. Mine tend to be slightly more subtle comedies. You're hilarious. So
I think people laugh at me. People laugh with you.
I don't laugh at you.
I laugh at me.
I actually do.
Yeah, you do. Come on.
I definitely do.
I laugh at me though. I think it's an important skill. I say it in the best way. Yeah. I love that. I embrace that. I actually embrace that. I love people laughing at me. Yeah. I just like the lightheartedness of life because otherwise it's so dark.
100%. So, I love that. So yeah, definitely a reason.
Let's be silly. I love the silliness. That's why I love spending time with like kids, like my nephews and things, because I love that silliness of life. I think it's just so joyful and playful. It's the inner child that comes through. But that's interesting. That. Okay.
Yeah. And also you obviously have the psychology interest and the desire to talk about this kind of stuff as well. So I feel like there was multiple reasons. I actually made an entire list at the time.
Did you? Yeah. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Cons?
Well, there wasn't really any cons of the fact we don't live in the same city.
Okay, yeah, that's a bit of a con.
So I was like, I don't know how that will work, but yeah, literally I made a pros and cons list, and there was literally one con. It was like, well, we don't live in the same city, but I don't live in the same city as anyone. So
well, yeah.
And the other con was, does she want to do it? But you did.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a con, it was more of a question.
Question mark. Question mark.
She wants to do it.
Flashback. Yeah, flashback to when you were doing Loving Lifestyle and coaching.
Yeah.
And I was one of your little coaching case studies, which was actually great. Like, I needed it at that time in my life.
Yeah.
It actually prompted me to go and get therapy.
You did, yeah.
Because I would have loved to have done that with you. But then at the same time, I think you need someone who doesn't know your life at all to be able to like come in and give you a like very, is it subjective, objective advice.
Yeah.
But that was definitely what kickstarted it for me. So that whole self-development and being that this is all about that, I think is, and I love that we're in the same place but different places.
Yeah.
Like, we both quit our jobs to do something creative.
Yeah.
I think we've both been similar in so many ways. We know each other's lives so well, and our families, and our, you know, like our socials and school history and stuff. Like, I think that's pretty unique. But so we're similar in that sense, but then also so different in what we're like, even our goals, right? Yeah. They look very different.
Exactly.
And I love that, and it gives variation.
Yeah.
And it gives me inspiration too. Like, a lot of what you say, I'm like, yeah, okay, I probably need a bit of more of that, like, discipline in my life. So that's, it's quite cool to be able to have fun with you and grow with you and hopefully benefit other people watching.
Exactly. It's like the perfect combo, isn't it?
It is like the perfect combo.
And I'm so glad that it's actually worked out as I thought it would, you know? Like, I had a feeling it was going to be good, But not gonna lie, guys, not to pat our own backs here, but I think we're good at this.
Do you think? I honestly think I just chat shit and then you make sense of it. And that's my role, and I'm happy with it. I'm so good with that.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. All
right, we've totally diverged here, haven't we?
Shall we talk New Year's resolutions?
Yes, we should.
Awesome.
Would you like to kick us off?
Okay, my first one relates heavily to yesterday, my crisis of when I had a troll on social media. I had 2 trolls, actually. My nephew asked me yesterday because I was speaking about it, and Jack very innocently was like, do you have trolls? Do trolls exist? And I was like, it's not like the animated troll version, but I didn't know how to describe it. He's
going to be terrified to go over any bridges.
Terrified. Oh my gosh, yeah, the troll under the bridge. Yeah, that's basically, I'm terrified to go over the bridges now. But basically, I want more of a work-life social media balance. I know I've talked about it in the past, how it's really hard when you're promoting yourself as a creative. And social media is like the main marketing platform to do that. It's very hard I found it hard to step away from it at times when I would have benefited from just spending time in the moment.
Yeah.
And I've wanted to be like, let me capture this for socials. And it takes you away from the present.
Yeah.
And it taints it a little bit because it makes it more of a productive thing as opposed to like spending time with family vibes.
Yeah.
So that's something big one. Don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's what I want to do, is more of a balance. I think I need to really strip back again with music, strip back the layers that surround it and take away from some of the joy. Music was always very therapeutic for me, and that's why the idea of doing it full time is like amazing, but it's pulled me away from writing and creating,
right?
And it's taken me into this world of like business management and music management and things, and it's just it's becoming more anxiety provoking than what it was before, which was this amazing like engine through which I could explore my feelings and emotions. So I want to actually spend more time writing music and let the other stuff fall a little bit. I'll still be pushing it, but not let that be the focus. And actually just get back to the roots of music. I think I need to do that.
I really empathize with that as well, because I feel like that's when I was doing the coaching. That was where I came up against a massive wall. In the end, I just decided it wasn't enough of a passion for me to continue. Sure. But it was the same thing. I was like, I am now becoming a full-time marketing and sales manager. I'm like, I don't, this is not why I'm here. Like, I'm here because I want to help people. I'm here because I think I have, some value or whatever. And that's why. And then it just became something else. And the same with people who said, like, why don't you become a chef or a baker or something? I'm like, because I love it.
And you don't want to take the joy out of it.
I think it is hard to separate those things sometimes and like just go back to why are you doing this to begin with,
I'm not a content creator.
No.
I never really want to be. I don't have a desire to be. And that's just not like, I'm accepting that that's not so. I could learn about it more if I wanted, and I have tried, but it's just not where the passion is. So yeah, that's something I want to get back to, the love of the actual craft that I do. Some more like serious ones. I think I talked a little bit about this, so I won't go into it too much, but I've talked about it before or in the future whenever that episode comes out, about being that woman. Solo dates and just reconnecting with myself, because again 2023 for me was very much reconnecting with myself, and I let it slip. And it's amazing how you actually have to keep the practice up of mindfulness. It's not like a natural like default, like you have to work at it every single day. Literally a day or 2 days would go by without doing gratitude lists, and I would be I could tell that my mood had dipped, and I've literally not done it probably for 6 months.
Wow.
So that's really sad. So I want to do that one.
Do you have a gratitude journal?
Yeah, I do. I have a gratitude. I need to find it. But yes, it's a gratitude of like what I'm thankful for now, and you make a list, and then it's like, so it's I'm grateful for, and then you make your list, and then I will be grateful for.
Yes.
And it's like it's a bit of manifestation as well. It's like acting as though you have it. Yeah, and I have so much to be grateful for. So it's really just like it brings you back into the present. I think. So that's a big one. I think I've put like some more ones that are a little bit more, I don't know, opaque. Boundary setting being one of them, and just sticking with the boundaries that I insert, because I know of what makes me, I know when I'm over socializing, but I can't say no. And not necessarily because of that person, because me and my FOMO.
Yes.
But it's like, so it's setting boundaries for myself. It's like, Cara, you're not in a great place. Don't go out and like go to a party. Just chill at home.
Yeah.
Like get back to your, like go and have a bath with some candles and
Yeah.
let yourself just
Put your phone
decompress.
away.
Put your phone away. Saying no to extra bank shifts that come up because I know I want the money, but I'm probably not going to benefit from it because I've got other stuff I need to do that I is important to me. Saying no to myself and stopping myself from doing things.
Yeah.
So that's another big one.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they're going to be challenging. I'm not sure. I need to actually. We almost need another episode about how we're going to achieve these things because I didn't get that far.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I didn't get that far.
I think with a lot of these things, like you said, it's with the gratitude, it's actually just about reminding yourself of them regularly.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you're right. Like the whole setting the boundaries thing, it's like, okay, right, well, you could write yourself a list of how.
Yeah.
But if you never look at that list, you'll never do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So actually, you just need to remind yourself, right, this is my goal.
Yes.
So like every day, if it's on your mirror or it's in your journal or it's wherever it is, it's showing you mind. Like it's fresh in your mind every day, right? Put yourself first, you know, remember your personal boundaries. Like, what are you grateful for today? If you have that, like, literally written down and you look at it every day, it means that when you get that text about, you know, a work shift or a party or whatever, you can be like, oh, right, I'll already remember that I don't want to be overcommitting. So let me have a think. Do I want to go? Do I not want to go? Do I want the shift? Do I not want the shift? Okay, I'll say yes to this, but no to that or whatever. But it's fresh in your mind.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. You have to have that constant sort of prompt to hold you to just bring it back to the forefront of your consciousness because life is busy and hectic, and then it easily slips back.
I think with so many personal development goals, like that reminder is the how.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not tangible things a lot of the time. They're so unique as to each situation requires a slightly different approach, and so it can't be the case of like, well, when I walk through the front door, I'm going to lock my phone in the box with my keys. Yeah. It's like, well, you could, but how are you going to remember to even do that?
Yeah, true. Know? No, for sure.
Put the box on your doormat so you literally trip over it as you walk through the door. That might work, or you might just kick it to the corner and then keep walking past it.
Or you might fall and flat on your face.
Or that, you know? But
and then have a broken nose. just going extra. But no, I agree. Yeah. I agree. And actually, that will be more important for me because they're not tangible goals. You can't like see. It's gonna be difficult to track how much gratitude I've done or how my mental state has shifted. And personal development is really hard to. It's a feeling more than a descriptive, right? It's not like saying I'm gonna lose this many kilograms or I'm gonna play this many gigs. It's not really something you could track in figures.
No.
So it's gonna be hard to do that. But that's. I wanted to do that. Like I wanted to, in the past, I've set very specific goals. Like, okay, I'm going to release this many songs, or I'm going to save up this much money, or I'm going to sell this many clothes, or I'm going to not drink for the month of January. And those are very clear goals. I didn't want to do that this year because inevitably I don't always reach them and I feel pretty naff about it. So for me, it's a mindset shift that I'm working towards, regaining my 2023 mindset because that was my best time. As well as the exercise and eating healthy, maybe drinking less, just less toxins in my body. So I'm hoping for a wholesome year.
I like that.
I'm not going to say that I'm
of the year.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I'm going to be a rock star by the end of 2025. That would be nice, but I'm focusing more on like this. Yeah. And then hopefully that comes with
everything else comes with it. I love that.
So you tell me.
I love that. It's actually so funny. This is honestly one of my favorite things about doing this podcast is the fact that we are just totally staggered. I just love it. I just love it because this is amazing to hear you say that because like I was doing vision boards with my friend last week and she was saying that she's never actually like set goals or done anything like that before, like ever. She's never
interesting,
which I think is crazy. But that's just because
you set goals.
So I'm like, oh my god, it's wild to me. But different people do things differently, right? But I was saying how last year I did a vibe board for my vision board because I had a general vibe. So like you just said, your vibe was wholesome.
Yes.
So my vibe was, in fact, it's actually here on my
That's very cool.
home screen. Wait, you can't see it over there, but Cara can see it. You see how it's like a vibe. It's like little country places because I want to do some traveling. Yes. It's like general fitness. Nice. It's general creation. I wanted to graduate. That was kind of a tangible one.
Candles by the bath. That's
reading,
mine.
Candles by the bath, couples, driving.
Cute.
Like it's just a vibe. vibe, right?
I like the vibe.
And that was my 2020
Healthy foods. That's basically my. Can I just screenshot
You can
that and
screenshot
send to
it,
me?
yeah.
Thanks. That's my 2025 vibe.
And I I just did it on Canva and Pinterest.
Nice.
But because I didn't have any tangible goals last year. Obviously, I did have things like I wanted to run my half marathon and I wanted to graduate, but they were kind of things I was going to end up doing anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like they were crazy goals if you told me like a year ago or whatever I was going to do them.
Sure.
But once I committed, I wasn't going to not do it, if you know what I mean.
You're going to see it through. Which I admire. I admire your, is it fortitude? What's the word for like, yeah, that
Follow
determination,
through, I guess.
the follow through.
Yeah, I can't quit things, unfortunately.
No, that's not unfortunate. That's fantastic.
It is unfortunate though, because sometimes I'm like making myself, I mean, honestly, my degree thing,
Yeah.
I made myself miserable through my master's, but I now have a master's. So at the end of the day, you know, it was positive, but it was net negative.
Yeah. Net negative.
Net negative, yeah.
I love it. Okay, no, that's actually very valuable though, is actually knowing when to let go. And I do, sorry, we're digressing, but we'll go on to yours. I'm intrigued. But I wanted to bring this up in some kind of podcast. This is a natural segue, but I think letting go of things that aren't serving you is another one of mine. Of like, I don't like the idea of, and I see so many inspirational things on Instagram, like don't give up, like this is the period the universe is testing you, and this is the and you've got to get it through it, and then it will be all like sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not. There's no shame in letting go of something that's not serving you anymore. You don't have to achieve what you thought were your dreams if they're not your dreams anymore.
Honestly, I could talk about this
Shade
for
your
like
skin. Yeah.
for like
Another podcast
days. We should
because
that was literally my experience with the whole coaching thing and putting the coaching, and also it took me 2 full years to even deign to entertain the idea of doing anything with social media again.
Okay.
Because of the trauma I forced on myself by not letting myself quit something that was not working, that was making me miserable.
Yeah.
Because I was so embarrassed of the fact that I had, in quotations, failed at something I previously had wanted, even though I didn't want it anymore.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's so hard to... We 100% should talk about that again, because that is such a good topic.
It'll be interesting whenever we do it where I'm at again with the music stuff.
Yeah.
On social media.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of also in that sort of like precipice moment of what do I do?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's... Okay, let's park it. Let's park it
for another time.
And we'll do a whole like... shedding your snakeskin episode.
Yes.
And cool. So tell me, what are your New Year's resolutions?
What are my New Year's resolutions? So this year's
self-respect. I haven't even gone into self-respect.
No, but
mine were completely different. Okay, you cover that. You cover the self-respect.
I won't give you my actual resolutions. My resolutions are this year very tangible goals. Like I said about last year, it was, or 2024 was vibes. 2025 is goals. I have literal physical goals. I have monetary goals.
Nice.
I have what's it called? Numerical goals when it comes to the podcast. I have literal goals that I want to achieve and that I am every single day writing down to manifest that this is my what's going to happen in the next 6 to 8 months or whatever.
Cool.
So, and also we're going traveling next year and we have no house from March, so I have goals around being able to afford to live in an Airbnb for a couple of months rather than having to only crash on couches. So I have very specific goals for next year, but I won't go into all those.
Okay, we're going to
refocus on self-respect. It's not important for you guys, but yes, I'm going to refocus. So what we want to kind of talk about today, I guess, was a little bit about kind of having standards when it comes to the goals that you achieve, that you set for yourself and your kind of 2025 visions, I guess, because I think it's so easy to come across this time of year and want to set goals for yourself, but they're not based on, you haven't actually put that much time and effort into thinking about them, if that makes sense. They're kind of based on the idea of like, right, well, this is what I should want to achieve. This is what somebody else wants me to achieve. This is what I wanted to achieve last year but didn't. Those kinds of things where it's like, you know, it's like the classic trope of, you know, like every year lose 5 kilograms is on your, you know, New Year's resolution list or whatever, but it doesn't happen each year, and you go to the next year and it's back on the list again, and it's back on the list again, or whatever it is, you know. And I think that if we set goals and we are kind of not really thinking that much about how we want to feel during the year, then we're just kind of thinking about like some random tangible goal we've pulled out of thin air, I think it's so much harder to actually motivate yourself to achieve them, and therefore when you don't, you kind of beat yourself up more as well. And basically I wrote down like, respect is the feeling of admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities or achievements. So by eliciting that feeling in yourself, by being your own cheerleader, championing your achievements, and kind of showing up every day as the person that you want or need to be in order to achieve those goals, then you kind of have this like elevated vibe, I guess, for yourself. And it's something we talk about a lot, is that kind of like magnetic energy when it comes to people a lot of the time, as we're talking about, but it actually applies to like goals and stuff as well. If you like respect yourself and therefore you believe that you're like capable of your achievements or whatever you want to do, you're more likely to, okay, if we want to just use the whole, every year someone says they want to lose 5 kilograms or whatever in January, we can use that as the example, right? Or eat healthier or whatever it is. It's like, if you say that from a place of hatred, you're like, I hate myself, why don't I look like I did when I was 18 anymore, like this is a nightmare, whatever, blah 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 blah, the classic. Then you hate yourself into trying to lose some weight, and then you fail and you hate yourself more.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle of disrespect to yourself, to your body, to your mind. You're just creating a constant source of negative energy. But instead, if you respect yourself and you're like, no, I want to be fitter in my body, I want to be stronger, I want to be more flexible so I can lift my kids up easier and and get out of bed quicker in the morning, and whatever the reason is, right? Then you will have that level of respect for yourself, so that when it comes to packet of cookies or the second portion of pasta or whatever, you're like, actually, like, no, I'm going to respect my goals and my body, and I'm going to say no to that because I'm doing it from a place of love rather than from a place of hatred. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully that makes sense.
That does make a lot of sense. I think it relates a little bit to trusting yourself, and making decisions based on your intuition, and then knowing you'll have your back. I think we've talked about this previously. And then trusting, and then I think with the trust that you build, the respect comes too, because you've proven to yourself that you've got you.
Absolutely.
Like, you have got you. Although, with that said, devil's advocate, I did a lot of work around this when I had my counselling, and actually mine was almost the opposite. Really? In the sense of not needing to have to achieve something. So not needing to, a lot of the time, my sense of purpose was heavily related to like proving to people that I could do things, or proving to myself. So I kind of like, I did the psychology because I never thought I could be academic, and I wanted to prove that I could be academic. And then I thought that would enhance my self-worth and my value that I place on myself based on my physical achievements. And this is a mindset I'm getting into with music that I don't like, that actually it's like, if I haven't got this many streams or this many followers, I haven't, then I'm not like worthy, or I'm not sort of, whereas for me, it's actually, who am I at my core as a human? And I need to respect myself for whatever version I am today.
Yes.
Even if I'm not achieving my goals, even if I'm not showing up, like, so I think there's a bit of both.
Absolutely,
I think it's always, and different for different people probably too.
I think as well, like, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense, because you got to start with self-love at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have acceptance
at your
of
worst,
who you are,
you have to love yourself at your worst.
Exactly. But if you want to go above and beyond and achieve goals above that, then you need some kind of standards around like the way that you treat yourself, I guess. And true. I think like when it came to this topic or whatever today, like the idea of self-respect, up-leveling your life in multiple different ways, it applies to so many different areas of your life. If you respect yourself a little higher, you set your standards a little higher, you're going to be a little bit more discerning with the people that you let into your life. You're going to be a little bit more discerning with the decisions that you make. You're going to be able to set those boundaries like you spoke about around work and social engagements and stuff easier, because you're treating yourself as somebody to be admired. Yes. And therefore, if you admire yourself and you put yourself on that kind of pedestal, you're like, no, I don't need to lower myself by entertaining things that I know won't be good for me.
I love that, setting standards for yourself. I think that's really, because it's almost the cause and effect. Like on the one hand, you want to love yourself where you're at, take you for what you are, and then on the other hand, you want to set things higher than where you're at, so that you almost rise to the challenge and grow to come to those. Because I suppose if you never did, if you just were always like, cool, I'm fine with this version of me, I'm probably not going to move anywhere, and I need to, because I'm not the happiest I've ever been. So when you set standards and you expect yourself to achieve them, and then you do, I think that's really like, that's pretty
absolutely. And I think it depends on what stage you're at as well. Like if you are in the depths of something right now, if you are struggling with your mental health, or with your physical health, or with an eating disorder, with anything along those lines, then your goal right now is to get to a place of acceptance
and self-love and compassion,
and
all of the
and understanding yourself, and working kind of to kind of befriend yourself again after something has kind of shaken that friendship. True. But if you're stuck in a rut right now, and you're like, I'm okay, things are all right, like life's, it's up and down, and things have been going. That's me this year. That's why this next year is discipline for me, and that kind of thing. Had a good year. I've done things I wanted to do. I've also done things that, not as much as I wanted to do in other areas. And there are definitely areas I could have pushed myself harder, and there are areas where that was fine. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of just in a mid zone. If you're looking to, so if you're from here and you aren't looking to go from here, start with the self-love, the self-compassion, the therapy, the befriending yourself again, because that's what you need to focus on right now. You can't jump from here to here.
For sure.
But if you're here and you're looking for up-leveling, and you want to up-level your life, then that self-respect piece is where we're going to go. Do you know what I mean?
So interesting. And the way I see it is, and us as great examples of this from what we want from next year, is almost like I'm looking for the feeling, that like compassion, to then lead me to the action. Yes. You're now looking for the action to lead you to the higher,
to the next level,
and respect. So that's really interesting. It's that cause and effect of like, I'm going for a vibe, you're going for a tangible goal. And our years last year were probably opposite. You were going for the vibe and I was going for the goal.
Exactly. So and I think these things are actually a circle as well.
I think they are cyclical,
where I'm at right now, like, obviously I don't hope, that poor mental health on myself again, but I also am realistic in knowing that in my life I will probably have that again. In fact, I could pretty much guarantee it.
I think it will happen again, right?
So I know that I'm going to end up back down there again at some point in time, and I'm going to be struggling to get to this point. You know what I mean? But right now I'm here, so I'm going to let myself look for this. And we're just going to keep going in this little cycle. For the rest of the time, basically.
What fun, what joy. So don't you think fundamentally it's learning to know where we're at, and how to meet ourselves there?
100%. I think that's, look at that. Love when that happens.
Mic drop. Can I drop? No, I won't drop my mic because it'll go.
It'll make a ton of noise.
People will be like, let's not. But that's it. That is our self-respect for 2025.
It is. If you're ready to kind of do that little up level, and you're looking for that kind of next step in discipline and self-respect next year, then have a little think about, what is causing you joy in your life and what's causing you stress. And then in 2025, how can you add a bit more of that joy and reduce a little bit of that stress?
And maybe one of those ways is to listen to a self-development podcast by two fun employed girlies in their 20s. Although I'm technically employed, but we'll just
ignore that.
So come along, join us for the ride. Let us know if you want us to cover anything else. Like, I'm interested. There's always this is a huge topic.
Yes.
So there's going to be things that people maybe have thought about in their lives, or wish that they had a podcast that addressed some of the topics. So let us know.
Absolutely. And we have got quite a few kind of New Year, New Me style podcast episodes coming up. Obviously, the compassionate New Year, New Me. We're not about those fads at all.
We're fully embracing the fact that we are sometimes shit shows.
Exactly.
That don't always have the answers, but we try and muddle our way through. So
we're normalizing normal behavior.
Yes. So if that is something that appeals to you, please
follow along. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of those episodes. And we will see you back here next Monday.
Yay.